All right, good morning. Welcome back here to Trader Minute. Great to have you aboard. We've seen the market go through, quite an interesting 3-month period here. Pops and drops all over the place, and a pretty sizable drop. And we're in the midst of a pretty sizable pop. Here in the market overall. I know today it's up just a little bit, but in terms of where things are and what's going on, pretty sizable move over the last 2 weeks. And it's been a while since we've had this magnitude of shakeout in the market. And when we have these types of events, the nice thing about them is it shakes things up to the point where you can start looking at stocks and saying, wait a minute, this thing is really out of whack in terms of where it's trading and where its value is. You can also start seeing and going, you know what? Something's going on with this company because it's holding up really well relative to everything else. Because generally when we get these sell days, it's everything down. Everybody out of the pool, right? But over time, you start to see some patterns or some trends emerging that suggest, certain stocks have something different about them, something different going on. And I think we can take a look and go, okay, at this point now with some of the pops, drops, rebounds, everything we've had, there are some stocks out there that we can look at and say, hey, the chances of these stocks outperforming in 2019 are very strong. Now, notice I said outperforming in 2019, outperforming the market in 2019, right? The reality is if the market goes down 20% this year, these stocks are going to go down. They're not going to be market immune, right? They're just absolutely not going to be market immune. Maybe two of them could, by chance, be market immune. But they're most likely to outperform the market. Now, obviously stories can change and, trends everything can change. But with what information we have now, with what is happening, going on now, what has happened in the past months, these are some that we can look at and say, hey, odds are really high that they will outperform. Let's start with KB Home. You've heard me talk about this stock. Mention it quite a bit over the last few weeks. Really, since their earnings, right back here, right? This is one where I talked about it on this earnings gap and just said, look, I mean, this is the type of earnings where this gap's a bottom. This isn't a breakdown gap or anything like that. This is a bottoming gap, here for it. And KB made the nice rally, had to pull back with the market and has rebounded substantially, here overall. Now, KB Home fell sharply with the market in October, right? That's when the market fell, and it fell sharply. And it had its kind of rebound highs with the market, right? But since then, it has been outperforming the market very nicely. And in fact, has put in a higher low and is actually breaking out into a short-term higher high. This is a company that did not participate with the market rally during the summer. This is a company that continued to fall during the summer. This was a $38 stock, and it got cut, rightfully so, right? Rates going up, okay, mortgages more expensive, all right, or fewer homes going to be sold? Yeah, probably. But what's going on now? Well, through this process, they essentially last earnings kitchen sinked it, put all the bad in, basically said, hey, you know what, is what it is, and here it is, and we're not going to, we're just going to kind of lay it all out there, and don't have a lot more skeletons in the closet to kind of really, account for. And we have seen the stock, outperform very nicely since that time. Now, today there's a individual catalyst associated with it, and not KB Home itself, but with Lennar. And I show this because I think this is an overall sectoral element. Yes, I think when we look at KB Home and the price action that we've seen, and we'll go take a look at the fundamentals, but this isn't just a KB Home story. This is a Lennar story. This is, this is a story that affects the rest of, the rest of the home builders here. And let me just pull up a list. I thought I had it here on my fingertips, but let me pull it up. Maybe. Here we go. Sorry about that. All right, so KB Home, we'll just type that into FinViz, and it gives residential construction, right? We'll just click it, and we'll just come in here to the highest volume. Just take a look at the major ones, but you can see who they are. They are, maybe, let's go. Come on. We'll go to the bottom here. Toll Brothers. Well, here we are at top. Lennar, Pulte, Dr. Horton, Toll Brothers, right? Those are some of the big ones here. And if we just come in and chart these and take a look at where they are, and I apologize, it seems like there's a lag here. But we can start to kind of see that in general, these are companies that are, that are doing something a little bit different, that are moving to levels where if we compare them to the highs from October, yeah, they're not outperforming the market. But if we compare them to the most recent breakdown, they are outperforming the market very well. And, they do have something a little bit different going on. Now, Lennar is driving the space here, today. And I had these prepared before this morning. But this morning, Lennar comes out and talks about their expectation for home sales, margins, average home price, and it was taken very positively here by the market. And I'm going to have to close FinViz here. For some reason, it's creating an issue. But it is something where what they said and what's going on is something that is affecting the entire group and the entire sector. And so while, KB Home's my favorite, I think this is a story that you can start to look at these other home builders and go, wow, there could be some major upside here, and some major upside over the course of 6 to 12 months. And when you start to look at even some of the really low dollar amount ones, the really, the small cap ones here, if you're looking for a company that can go from $12 to $24, take a look at something like a Beazer Homes. Take a look at something like William Lyon Homes. These are stocks that could see massive appreciation in their values, just due to some of the perception changes that are coming. And when we talk about the valuations of this group and of this sector, and I apologize, I can't get to that just yet. I may have to pause this and do something a little different here. But when we talk about the valuation in these stocks and in the sector, and your screen probably went black here for a moment, that's my doing. So here I am just trying to get things kick-started a little bit. But anyway, the entire group, the entire sector, very cheap. In fact, you can even see over here just pure PE ratio, where the PE ratios sit. And there we go. Got rid of FinViz, so now can't show it. But at least I can navigate through things now. All right, here we go. So let's come over to Y charts. And let's just come into KB Home, since that's the one we're talking about. And if we break this down fundamentally, right, it's one thing to have price action that's a little bit different. But if we break this down fundamentally, are we seeing anything, really different going on here for the company? And I'm just going to take a look over the last 10 years, and let's go take a look at revenue. That's always where I start with any company. And take a look over the last 10 years. What's happening to KB home revenue? KB home revenue in 2012 was $1.6 billion. We're at $4.6 billion now. That's a monster appreciation in revenue. And you'll notice what's going on with their revenue. It's continued to climb. And the rate of climb has slowed a little bit. A concern of that rate of climb slowing has led to the substantial pullback. But this is not a stock that pushed higher in a very substantial way based on any of the over optimism or short covering or things like that. There was a material reason for this happening. Hold on, I'll be right back. All right, my apologies. I am going to restart this video. I'm getting word from Jason that we're getting some buffering issues, so bear with me. He's going to tweak a few things and make sure that we don't have this issue. So I will be back here in about 2 minutes.